Welcome to the 11th episode of the Tell It Like It Is Hip Hop News Reaction Podcast. When idols become rivals. What next? Stay tuned. Welcome everybody to the episode of the Tell It Like It Is Hip Hop News Podcast. This is your host, SP the Artist, signing in. And please, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, and share my videos, and please comment so I can know if I've been entertaining and informative to you guys. And feel free to leave questions if you want me to post or do a podcast on your favorite hip hop artist or anything like that. Leave a comment, okay? All right, let's get right into it. As of late, and it's been a crazy couple weeks in like hip hop and then just in the urban community as a whole. With X's death, young Junior being stabbed in the Bronx, and Jimmy Wapo, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. A lot of these guys that I look up to, a lot of guys who I consider to be my idols, period, because they're black, white, and Latino men that are out here making a way and doing things and contributing to the hip hop culture as a whole. Like I said, I'm not an artist. I'm just a songwriter, entrepreneur, and just a fan of hip hop. But there's recently been a lot of influencers in hip hop going at each other's necks. Joe Budden, Peter Rosenberg, Akademiks, Domislive. Now Bosco has some issues with Akademiks. It's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of people pointing fingers and trying to tear each other's brands down. No, I don't believe that everybody can get along, and this is not the perfect landscape at all. This is no fairy tale. But I do feel like there's just a lot of bigger issues that are going on in the world, and it's just petty squabbles and just the mudslinging. And now I get what Jay Prince was saying. I respect him all the more, and I'm definitely going to purchase his book on respect, because when you get just allow yourself to get involved in the mudslinging, you had no fucking value at that point. And yes, it's entertaining to some people, but only, like I said, beta mindset folks and non-accurate thinkers. And that doesn't make them bad people to be that way, but life is so precious to kid yourself thinking that you can bullshit and just throw things out there that adds no value. I mean, you're just simply at a loss at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the purpose for even existing at that point? By default, we all going to have different opinions and different perspectives. So we don't have to create a bunch of unnecessary bullshit in order for clickbaits, follows, like, shares, and none of that stuff. Anyone of like clout chasing, none of that, because we all want attention. That's how we build our brands and our platforms and reach people and add impact and value. All I'm saying is that it's just crazy to me to see people look up to certain people, be inspired by them, build their own platform up, and having been inspired by these particular people, then to either attack these people or to get attacked by these people. It's a sad, sad thing. And even if some of this stuff is staged for our entertainment, I talk about books all the time. You got books like Influence, Persuasion, Nudge, Thinking Fast and Slow, that kind of lets you know about the ways that the mind works and how we can be tricked and fooled and hypnotized very easily as human beings if we're not aware of how these psychological influences. And I'm not saying that anybody's staging any of this stuff just for the controversy because controversy sells. I just feel like we're going to all have differences of opinion anyway, if we're being honest, right? If we're speaking our truth and standing on what we say, we're all going to have different perspectives. We don't have to magnify like the beef and the disagreements, just to keep people's attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're interested enough as fucking individuals when we be honest and share our opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get butthurt if an artist that I'm feeling or a track that I'm feeling, one of the guys that I look up to that's in hip hop influences doesn't like a song, I don't get butthurt about that. I mean, how boring, and I said this before, would the world be if we all fucking looked alike and we all thought alike and we all liked the same shit? It'd just be boring as fuck. You know what I'm saying? We need polarization. You know what I'm saying? We need different perspectives, different angles. And I get that. I'm saying we don't have to be petty and disrespectful. Because on the surface, well, I'm going to tell you like this. On the surface, beneath the surface, no human being is better than another human being. It's just been a simple, a bunch of brainwashing and all of that shit down through the generations to have people feel small about themselves and their self image so they can easily be controlled or stagnated. That's all that shit is. But fuck those people that created that bullshit, that psychological warfare that still resonates and permeates our societies to this day. We can change that shit. Let's not add to that bullshit. I mean, the reason why I like the Me Too movement, and I gotta say this, is because it pulls the curtain back and it exposes how people abuse power. And I like the fact that people, the individuals, the consumers are realizing they're the ones that have the power. Like without the fans and the consumers, businesses and celebrities, that shit ain't nothing. It doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Us as fans put people in position. So if any of my supporters, as I build and grow, I'm always going to give back and respect, and I'm never going to exploit them or not appreciate them or try to little nigga or son anybody or whatever. I'm no better than nobody. Okay, I don't have a small self image, so I can stand next to a trillion fucking air and have a conversation and not feel less of a person based on what I don't have. And I see a lot of people attacking one another on what you have or what you don't have, you know, to make yourselves feel big. That's all beta mindset bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Anytime that you got to attack somebody's legacy, tear them down to put yourself up and to bring light to yourself, it's fucking beta mindset, man. Like alpha mindset is never about that. It'll always be about uplifting, looking at someone's flaws and taking that as a reflection and learning about yourself, putting yourself in check. You get what I'm saying? Not the pot calling the kettle black or some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I just tire of the bullshit. I don't let it frustrate me to the point where I'm paralyzed or stagnated. No, I simply be the change that I want to see out there. And I'm not putting this out here to like preach at anybody. And like I said, I'm not wanting us to all hold hands and kumbaya and all of that shit. No, by default, we all have different perspectives if we're honest. If we're not following something because it's trendy to say something politically correct, we can speak our honest opinion, even if it rubs some people the wrong way. We can have tact and standing out and being honest about how we feel about things. You know what I'm saying? I consider myself to be a very accurate thinker, but I'm incredulous. But at the same time, I'm open minded. I'm willing to hear another side. If I got a perspective wrong and I was a little cloudy on something, I don't mind somebody checking me, even if they're being condescending. If they're pulling me around to the right perspective, I want that. I'm going to thank them for that. So even as I rise through this and put my grind in and put my time in and get my numbers up, if somebody throws shade or whatever at me or whatever, I'm going to let that shit roll off. Because one thing, life is too fucking short. You know what I'm saying? Like there's way bigger issues. There is a bigger picture than to be down for some bullshit. And a lot of times, man, and I see that a lot, man. Even as I'm looking at the situation, and you know, I have love for Jay-Z. I consider him to be like a mentor from afar, as many other people out there. But as I'm looking at Dame Dash, and I understand him and Jay had differences, sometimes because we're big fans of certain people, we may have some default bias and not want to fuck with someone that they may have issues. I'm grown past that. I'll admit, man, it was at one time I didn't even like Jay-Z because he had an issue with Nas, and I was a huge fan of Queensbridge artists at that time. So when Jay went at Nas and Prodigy, I felt away. But around when he dropped like the H to the Izzo, it just reminded me why I liked Jay. And I realized, like, wait a minute, I don't even personally know these guys. Whatever issues that they have is their fucking issues. I'm not going to let one take away my love for another. None of that shit. If they have issues, that's their issues. I'm not going to judge anybody. Like I said, I'm not an advocate of rape, abuse of women, men, children, animals, none of that shit. So, of course, if someone is guilty of that, I'm not going to applaud that. And I'm not going to want to support, their stuff if they're guilty of that stuff and hurting someone. Am I the type of person that can forgive someone and want to see someone change? Yes. I'm all about neuroplasticity and rewiring your brain. We're all works of evolution anyway, if we fucking allow it. We're all works in progress. You can't grow if you don't come from a certain point. We're all going to be fucked up. There's nobody's perfect. I agree with Joe and what he was his problem with Peter Rosenberg as far as that, he's no angel. None of us are no fucking angels. None of us. None of us are fucking perfect. And I get that the whole politically correct and you don't want to rub the wrong people the wrong way because now people are realizing that blacks included, consumers have the powers. The fans have the power. You know what I'm saying? And we're realizing that we can leverage it now. That companies, Hollywood, celebrities, and music entertainers they're not shit without fan support. Period. Without consumers, businesses are nothing. They don't exist. Like I said, anything of value only is valuable because we assign an idea of value to it. Um, like I said, I'm not stating all this stuff to shade or down anybody. I respect all of these guys, that I mentioned. From Charlemagne to Akademiks and all that. I may not agree with them, but that's what makes them interesting. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to watch people that I fucking agree with. Half the mentors that I follow were hard on the excuse me, the old habits that I had. Dan Kennedy, um, Gary V, Grant Cardone. These guys are like hard on bullshitters. You know what I'm saying? They're all about the fucking action. They're not about this positive thinking, law of attraction shit. You got to get out there and put in the fucking work and be patiently impatient, willing to go through the process, but moving fast enough because life is that precious. But willing to be patient enough, having a 5-year plan, having a 10-year plan, 20-year plan, understanding that nothing happens overnight, that you might have to eat shit for like 10 years as you're building something. And I've already went through that 10 years of eating shit. But everything that I've gained in that process is beautiful. And plus, I don't look at the world like there's a lack of abundance. And I see that, in my opinion, most of these guys come from a standpoint that there's a zero sum game, right? That there's a scarcity everywhere, that there's no abundance, that I got to get all I can get. Oh, this man is going to take away from me. Man, there's abundance out this bitch. Like, think about it. Most of these people only have like a couple million followers to their platforms anyway, right? There's nearly 8 billion fucking people on the planet Earth, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, most of these people ain't even putting a dent on like societies as a whole. So I feel like we all need to humble ourselves and come back, man, and support each other and appreciate the fact. I don't care if you were a vet, right? And there's just no disrespect to Joe and his platform. I don't care if you're a vet in the hip hop industry and you have someone that's um, a newer person on the scene, like an Akademiks, a Domislive, a relatable Allball, a Carcino. If you're new or old, it doesn't matter. If you took the time to build something day to day, even when you don't feel like, I commend that shit. Like, I'm doing it now. You get what I'm saying? Working and building on something, committing myself to showing up and making sure that I drop these episodes every week. Drop my vlog, post a video to my blog every fucking day. It takes commitment to do this shit, to come up with content that's useful and entertaining and things of that nature that's relevant to what's happening in our culture and in our societies. Like, it takes time. I got to go through a whole thought process on what matters to you guys or what's relevant to what's going on, how it relates to us. And so I tip my hat off to these guys. Been doing this shit for years. You get what I'm saying? So as I'm looking at all these guys and respecting all of them, like, these guys certainly will never become my rivals because I'm only in competition with myself anyway. And anyway, I can learn from these guys, from the things they do right and the things they do wrong. And most of anyone who's following me can do the same thing. But I just refuse to tear down a black man, white man, Latino, Asian, any man for gain. I don't have to do that shit. We're all valuable. Everybody wants to be the fucking man. Guess what? You are the fucking man. Everybody wants to be the one. Guess what? You are the one. There's only one fucking you. You get what I'm saying? We're all unique and we're all special. We're equally valuable. Get this, people. Equally valuable, right? And uniquely valuable. We have the gift of duality. Why the fuck is any one of us mad? Especially these guys that's like up in 6, 7, and 8 fucking figures. What the fuck do you have an attitude about? Like, seriously. You get what I'm saying? I would love to have a fucking a bankruptcy, $1 million bankruptcy that I can fucking pay off. That's a hell of a good problem to fucking have. You feel what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad at all, at no fucking one. And we're not perfect. We're gonna have ebbs and flows, ups and downs. I'm just saying that the whole rivaling thing, it's like we take away from a lot of shit that matters. Like the issues surrounding a lot of young guys and the youth and what's going on in the streets, young junior getting killed. It's just so many things happening, and this shit has been happening a long time. So we're getting petty, right? And all of these serious issues are happening. Everybody has an opinion about Trump and how his policies affects human beings as a whole. Guess what? That shit is serious. So why the fuck aren't we focusing on things like that and what we can do in our communities? Like with me, I'm being the change that I want to see. I'm not preaching shit to anyone. And guess what? I stop and talk to anybody. I don't give a fuck. If they asking me something, somebody asks me for change and I don't have change to give to them, guess what? I'm going to get them steps on how they can get change for themselves, get money for themselves. Because I've already been through that process as a homeless person, having to figure out how to build your way up out of a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? It took a lot for me to fucking increase my self-image to be able to push through that shit. So there's enough, people have enough real problems in the world for great minds to just be turned into petty minds, right? That's beta mindset bullshit. So that's my message to any of you guys watching this stuff. Yeah, it's funny, it's entertaining and things like that. And some of it may be staged. That's cool. But it's beta mindset, guys. Like people that don't really get involved with that shit. Jay Prince, alpha mindset. Like a Jay-Z, that's alpha mindset. You get what I'm saying? And that's how we all need to be. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with hearing someone's perspective but we can chop it up like men. We can speak with passion. We don't gotta shit on each other and have no tact. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we don't always have to agree. That's what makes us beautiful. The fact that we are so different. There's so many facets to each of us. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just needed to get that off my chest. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday and enjoy the rest of your week. This is SP the Artist signing out of the 11th episode. Peace.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.